What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here, and if you are boring people to death with your guitar strumming, and you know what I'm talking about, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, over and over again until you want to kill yourself, this is a lesson for you because we're going to learn how to add some color to your guitar strumming so it's not the same every time, and we're going to do so using two different techniques. One of them is going to be dynamically breaking up guitar chords into sections of strings. And the other one, we're going to use a really super famous, simple drum rudiment to kind of incorporate into your strumming. So first of all, let's just get started with talking about breaking up guitar chords. And we're going to use the key of G, the people's key, to kind of do a demonstration of it, all right? So we've got a regular G major chord, just like this. Now a lot of strumming is just going to be like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now this isn't really dynamic in any way. Everything kind of gets the same amount of force. 4 downstrokes and 1 upstroke. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay? Now, one way to kind of make that chord a little more interesting is to break it into pieces. So what I mean by that is, most guitars have 6 strings. So the beautiful thing about a G chord is you get to utilize all 6 strings. But just as we always like to do, we try to go overboard and we hit those same 6 strings all the time. Now what we want to do is we want to start getting a little more selective with the strings that we hit, whether you're using a pick or your thumb or your finger, however you want to do it. We want to focus in on these 6 strings. And once you can start to take these and start thinking of them as more as like bands, right? So instead of thinking of 6 strings as just like one solid mass to hit, maybe I want to just hit the first 2, the lowest 2 strings, the E and the A string. So I'll think of that as like the low band, and then maybe I'll take the 2 middle strings, the D and the G string. That could be like the middle band, and then I'll think of the B and the E string. That'll be the high band, almost kind of like a 3-band EQ on a stereo where you have like your low, your mids, and your highs. You can think of that exact same reasoning with a guitar. So I'll hit the low one, the middle one, and the high one. It's still the same G chord, but now I've broken that chord up into pieces. So maybe I can hit like on the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay, so it's a very similar strumming style that we had to the first thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. But now on the 1 and 2, I'm hitting the low band and the mid, and then 3 and 4, and. Maybe I'm getting like the low or the mid and the highs. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So already it sounds a little bit different. And you can get creative in any way that you want to do this. Maybe I'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So the 3 and the and of 3, I'm getting the high one, the 4 and the and of 4, I'm getting the mid one. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now, you may think it's like really difficult to just aim for 2 strings and always hit them in a consistent way. And that's something that'll really come with practice, but it's just the idea of trying to selectively hit an area and not really overdoing it. Because I can aim for the middle 2, and then if I get the 3 instead, guess what? That sounds fine, and it still sounds different than all 6. So it's not always about just hitting specific strings. It's about just kind of like having the thoughtfulness and the awareness to maybe start hitting string sets inside the group of 6. And I'm not being super picky about it. Sometimes maybe I'll get more than I'm going for. But it makes one chord sound a lot livelier. And then you can do the same thing with any chord for sure. So let's go to a C chord. And now, since I'm not using the low E string, I'm just kind of focusing on maybe my low section is just the A and the D string. My mid section can still be the D and the G string. And my high section can still be the B and the E string. G. Just C. And already it sounds a lot different than. Sounds a little bit more dynamic, which, you know, maybe isn't always suitable for the type of music that you're playing, but it's definitely a good speed to be able to switch into. Another thing is just taking the root note of a chord. So let's actually break it down even further. Let's go to a D chord, where we only use the highest 4 strings. So now, since we're kind of even shortening just what's available to us, maybe we can just try to aim for the root note. And then for the next 3 beats, we're just gonna go the bottom 3 strings down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then the next step would be to add accents to those. Like for this, you can tell I'm accenting the 3. So I'm kind of accenting the 1 just by making it a root note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So that third beat, I'm hitting a little bit harder. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and C, G. So, the most important thing you can do for your strumming is to start thinking about dynamics and then also break that chord into pieces, because that's almost like a built-in dynamic, because you'll notice that the low E and the A string are always going to be a little bit louder. They're bigger strings, so they're going to be louder than the B and the E string. So there's almost kind of like a built-in dynamic that comes with thinking of breaking those string sets into pieces. It doesn't always have to be as small as 2, 2, and 2. You can just go the low half and the high half. These are all downstrokes, and it sounds a lot different. Than just. So just by using dynamics and selective string hitting, you're already getting a lot more out of your strumming. The next thing I want to talk about is using a drum rudiment to incorporate into your playing. So what a rudiment is just basically a little kind of move that you can do back and forth that is quickly and easily repeatable, that you just like have brained into your muscle memory. Brained into? That's really not a word. That you have sunk into your muscle memory, into your brain, via your brain, whatever. What we're gonna learn is called a paradiddle, all right? So first of all, before we even apply it to a guitar, we're just gonna do it with our hands. Now this is something that drummers do with sticks, and it sounds like this. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Okay? So it's just kind of a simple thing if we break it down really slow. Start with your left hand, left, right, left, left. So that's half of it. That's the left, right, left, left. The next part is gonna be the opposite of that. Right, left, right, right. So just try to do it on your hands, on your guitar, on your leg, whatever. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. It may be more complex than it seems, but to really be able to get that on a consistent, steady motion, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, that's the sound of a paradiddle. So how does that translate to guitar? If we think of your left hand, or whichever hand you start with, you can always go right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Doesn't really matter. If we think of down and upstrokes as being your different hands, we'll go down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up. That's like a guitar version of maybe doing a paradiddle on a drum kit. So again, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up. And now if we're getting every single beat, it's like, well, what's the difference between just going paradiddle, paradiddle, and down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up? Is that the attack of your pick and the guitar chord is going to sound, you know, pretty drastically different whether you go down or up. Okay, because just like the notes that you hit first, again, the attack of your pick, how your pick hits those strings is going to vary depending on if you're going down and up. And if we start thinking of different patterns, this one specifically, it'll have like a really cool sound. Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up. Paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. And now if we incorporate what we did in the earlier part of that video, then we can just kind of dynamically, maybe on the downs, I'm just hitting the low 3 strings. On the ups, I'm hitting the high 3 strings. down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. To C. A minor. Up, down, down, up, down, up, up. So being able to do that quickly can be kind of tough, especially thinking on it in the fly. So if we maybe just mute the whole string set, that's a good way to really ingrain the sound of the paradiddle. Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, up. Do the same thing with your thumb. I think when you mute the strings, the attack of the becomes a little more prevalent into to your ears as far as how they sound. So then you can kind of start adding that to your playing. Like maybe if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up. We can start incorporating that into our playing, like with just a regular E minor chord. So having that rudiment in combination with the dynamics of the strings is a good way to maybe start working on more complex strumming patterns, but keeping the simplicity of just one rudiment at a time, but also incorporating dynamics and selective string hitting too. So it can kind of be a lot to handle at first, but really just do the thing where you mute the strings and then kind of try to focus in on just hitting certain ones at a time. Just the lowest two, the middle two, top two, middle, and eventually you'll notice that your timing is getting a lot better. Again, I can't really overstress the importance of doing these exercises with a metronome. You can definitely get a standalone one, or maybe just one on like an app for your phone, something like that. But definitely try hitting these up, and if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks a lot. So if you found yourself incredibly sad at the end of the video because you had to say goodbye to me, fear not. There are other videos that I'm in that you can click on, which I recommend you do so now, so you can continue to dominate your guitar mastery. So check those out and let us know what you think. Thanks a lot.